anybody like to make a motion? Mayor Cox?
I would like to direct administration to produce a check listing to be provided at each regular council meeting for review.
Thank you, Mayor Cox. Is there anybody speaking against this motion? CAO Tomaco?
Mr. Chair, I did make a request of the auditors to provide information to us regarding checklisting. I understand they've had discussions with you already regarding checklisting. I don't know where you went. Oh, okay. So the auditors, what they're saying is that I'll read it carefully, and then there are certain sections that are a little bit more management letter issues, so I will not talk about those because they are in-camera issues. We've been requested to correspond on a request from the CEO for our opinion on reporting additional financial documentation to the Council of the Town of High Prairie to include a listing of checks distributed by the town for council approval each period from last council period to next on a monthly basis. We will recommend the following and for council to consider as a governing body that this process is set up already internally. If controls are in place to ensure they are properly managed, then individual check disbursements for authorization at council meetings will not be necessary. And then goes on to define the council's, the treasurer's role and the CEO's role. Section 153 of the MGA should be followed to ensure that council participate in developing and evaluating policies and programs of the municipality. As was noted by Harold Johnsrud in his August 2012 assessment of the town, and I quote, "Directing staff and operations are not included in council responsibilities," unquote. So it then goes on to talk about the budget process and capital expenditures. It concludes by saying that I caution that the council in utilizing their valuable time in directing operations, I caution the council in utilizing their valuable time in directing operations versus managing those operations as governing representatives of the town tax ratepayers. So that's the summary of the auditor's position on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tomaco, or CAO Tomaco. Councillor Panasic?
I'm curious what the thoughts are, what we would gain by seeing the check listing.
Mayor Cox, do you have?
I actually, because I have signed the checks now for 2.5 years, and I've had deputy mayors sign the checks also, and I think that the deputy mayors, once they start signing, they have questions on the payments, which if you're not involved in the payments, you never actually get an idea of the operations and the scope of the town. And I think that it's a valuable educational experience for the councillors to see the payments that are being made and can question some of the items to understand how the town is operating.
I don't know how the MD does it. I got the email that you had sent out today. Do they just have a binder with that available?
That's part of their agenda package.
So then is it made to public?
All checks, all all payments are public.
Okay. Does anybody else speak against this motion?
I'm just curious, like I saw what you sent out and it was basically 1 page for 1 day, like it just said that day, so if you had...
Yeah, it wasn't all of them, it wasn't the whole month.
I don't know, I just asked Jessica, you got the email just like
Yeah.
I did, and it just said,
I just think
here's a
that
sample.
would be like 10 pages of checks each council meeting that, I don't know.
Sorry, I go to the MD meetings and it's essentially a monthly review kind of organized alphabetically, and then the treasurer, Bill Langic, goes through like the major ones. Like if there's one for like $18,000, he'll explain what it was, and it's like 2 pages long. It's not very
Oh, it's
long.
only 2 pages?
Yeah, it's not
Oh,
very
okay,
long.
cause I was looking at the one, I went, ooh, 1
Thank
page
you.
for 1 day, yeah.
Well, that's the day they ran it. That's the
when
check
they
run.
write checks,
Oh.
yeah.
CAO Tomaco?
Yeah, I guess typically it's neither here nor there for administration, but having gone through with municipal affairs and being very careful about the fact that the governance role is focused on governance, and the MGA is very clear that council should not undertake the role of the CAO. The MD may be doing it, but they never went through the process that we went through. One of the things that the auditors clearly said is that, more importantly, from a financial responsibility point of view, seeing the check listings for any council, owner, director of the company is too late in the process. The check would have gone out. It's not a process of trying to approve checks. We're seeing the listings. The listings are available at any point in time for anybody to see if they go, if they have a valid reason to see those. I share the same opinion with the auditor that you could be bogged down into operational review of checks. Besides, when the checks are being signed, Anita is available. The payroll is always available, sitting down with any council member, the mayor, and explaining what the checks are. She's always done that. So if there are any questions, those can be flashed out and brought to council as a whole. So it doesn't mean much to us. I mean, it does either way, but it's just that it becomes, council's duties become operational rather than governance.
Councillor Tanaka.
Excuse me. My understanding on this is that it would be strictly for information. It wouldn't necessarily be a discussion item that we would be discussing the checks. It would be more just for information, because I do concur with Mayor Cox in that since I've become deputy mayor, you're seeing some of the amounts of some of the checks that are going out, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, we're paying the auditors this much, we're paying whoever X amount of dollars. I think it gives us a better idea of what we are dispensing to auditors, to consultants, to anybody. I mean, and it is public funds, and I'm as far as I'm concerned, it's just for information to have. It's not necessarily to have a 15 or 20 minute discussion about why did this check get made. It's just to let the councilors know that this is what the money was dispensed for, and these are who the checks were made to, and this amount.
Thank you, Councillor Tanaka.
That's my understanding of the reasoning behind this.
Again, I sort of see the two sides. Like, I mean, I get that it's very operational, and it will bog down council, and it will make us question everything. And really, that really shouldn't be our role, to question all the expenses. I mean, administration gets a budget, this is how it's dispensed, and this is, you know, we do. But I do see the other side. If you're the person that's signing the check, you have to actually go put your signature on that check. You have to understand what you're signing. You're responsible, right? Ultimately, in the end. I've never really thought about that. When you actually are going to go in and sign that, who's ultimately responsible? We are.
Okay.
So I mean, a list of it wouldn't necessarily hurt, as long as it didn't become a micromanaging administration. But an understanding of the expenses, because like the treasurer's told me, you know, the budget ultimately is council's responsibility.
Okay, is there anyone else speaking against it? Seeing none, I call for a vote. Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to 5.2. Would anybody like to make a motion? Mayor Cox?
I move that council for the town of High Prairie adopt the form letter provided by AUMA as its own and circulated to all the candidates running in the High Prairie area in the next provincial election.
Thank you, Mayor Cox. Is there anybody speaking against this? Seeing none, I call for a vote. Those in favor? Carried. 5B3.
Who will sign this letter? The mayor?
Yeah. Ready for you.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to it.
And you'll find out the candidates too then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Panasic?
Council approve CEO's vacation from May 11th to June 10th as per the terms of his employment contract.
Is anybody speaking against this?
I have a question. It's, Mr. Martinson will be here on those days all through, or is,
We get an indication he is.
I think the 2 or 3 days that you may not be around, but Fred will. In June, there are a couple of 2 days or so. Not too many, but he will.
You'll just send an email notifying
Yeah.
us Bernie's taking over. That's good enough. Okay, all those in favor? Motion carried. 5B4. Anybody like to make, Mayor Cox?
the council approved Mackenzie Municipal Planning Services to review and update the Town of High Prairie Municipal Development Plan at the cost of $55,000.
Thank you, Mayor Cox. I was speaking with a previous employee about this today, and they said when Mr. Grover was here, he had been in discussion with Mackenzie also. They really liked Mackenzie. But they were looking at the town doing certain portions to lower the cost. I don't know if we're just doing it all in one package, just let them do it all. I don't know what was discussed previously. I wasn't there. I didn't go in depth. It was a 5-minute coffee break kind of thing. But they said, just to inform us that there are opportunities for us to lower the cost if we have the resources available here to do some of the work. Could be photocopy, could be printing, could be whatever, I don't know. So, is there anybody speaking against this motion? Councilor Tanasi?
Again, I don't know if I'm speaking against it, but have questions before I can make up my mind. Is more, how happy are we with the land use planning decision? Because I know after meeting 1, we weren't thrilled with them, was the gist that I got off of it. And I read your report,
You and I had part of that.
Constable Danaka, and said that this next meeting was okay, but we still haven't seen a final product. We don't know what it's going to look like. So I don't have any idea if I'm comfortable with them doing the work.
I believe the first draft of the land use bylaw will be the April 10th, the first
14th,
meeting in April.
14th.
14th,
Yeah.
and that'll be the first reading. When they presented the last bylaw compilation, I guess, if you want to say, that they were far better than they were at the prior 2 meetings that we had. So I think they'll be, I think it'll be okay.
Okay, just another question is this is working with them as a contractor at 55. If we joined in with them, it was it 80,000? Was that
87 for 5 years.
87
For 5
Per
years.
year for
per
5
year
years.
for
Per year,
5
5
years? And we have a lot of other things. If they're good, should we be? I mean, maybe we should be looking at joining them and working and getting things done, or is this better as a contract?
Because-
Questions.
This was
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead, because I was gonna say, we had this discussion.
Yeah.
And he came up with, this is the only things we need done, so go,
Yeah, exactly.
whatever you want.
Exactly. So the 87 is a break even for this year, and then the latter part of next year will be a split of about 35,000 for intermunicipal between us and the MD to be intermunicipal in terms of the boundaries and how we want to grow. Right? So we will be spending 87,000 next year necessarily, and the year after.
Yeah.
So the cost will keep going down, right?
Well, yeah, I would argue that there's lots that we could probably have done for the town. Like, I know, with Brian has said, we don't have good GIS information of what's underground, when it was put there. All of our utilities, we don't have a good database for. It's all in his head. And it'd be nice if we had it all in a nice GIS package and it was laid out so anybody could go in and find out. So those are things, we need an economic development plan along with the municipal development plan. So there's lots of things that we could use them for, but whether or not, but I see what you're getting, maybe we just wanna do it, cause 87,000 was quite a bit.
And Mr. You have the time frame for this. It's could take up as about a year, right? And what I'm finding out is that when you go project by project, there seems to be a little bit of responsibility and somehow, rather than just, this is 87 for 5 years, you tend to earn it more because you want the next project. I mean, I don't think the town is losing through that process. My honest feeling. And they're good to work with, though. Yeah.
Is that it, Councilor Johnson?
Yeah, those were my questions.
Okay, is there anybody else?
No, well, just further to that, and I remember when we were discussing with them when they were here, it kind of sounded like there was no guarantee if we went on the $87,000 sort of plan. There's no guarantee that they could get. We could give them a list of 15 things we wanted done, but they had to go to each one of their communities and allocate their time, and there was a small amount of people, so there was sort of, I mean, it was a shared service thing that made sense, but would you get everything done that you needed? That was sort of a concern that I kind of left that meeting from, like, so I would say.
All right.
I'll just add one other comment. I have talked to a couple of other counselors from other towns that have dealt with them, and reviews have been mixed. Some have said, yeah, they've done good, and others have said, you know what, we're probably not gonna use them. You know, so it's been a little bit mixed reviews depending on what it was and what the town thought, so.
Yes, Mayor Cox.
Well, maybe we should, they are coming again to our town, aren't they, for the land use bylaw? Maybe we could have them come to our council and represent what it is that they could do. Because they are willing to credit us the 37,000. The 37,000 towards the 87. Still, they're willing to credit that at this point, but maybe we should ask them, well, what else can you do? What kind of a 5-year plan would you have for us if we did buy in? It's just a suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you.
I did present that to council in my analysis, right? If you remember what we're going to do. And the conclusion was that, and I still feel strongly that we'll get our money's worth just by going project to project. And if at one point in time we don't feel that satisfactory, we can pull back instead of committing ourselves to a 5-year deal on that note.
I remember this being seen as a test run, see what they're
Mhm.
like, and we've moved from there. Any further comments? Seeing none, I call a vote. Those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. Moving on to 5B5. May I have a motion?
The council approved the mayor and the CIO to execute the town of High Prairie Airport lease agreement and the assumption and subordination agreements.
Thank you, Councilor Rose. Does anybody wish to speak against this?
Again, I just want to raise some discussion on it, not necessarily dead against it, just to slow it down a bit, but I read through some of this, and it is a lot of legalese in there that I have to ask if our administration understands it, because boy, lots of this I am going, I don't know what this really means at the end of the day. Like, it's, some of it I can follow, and some of it I'm going, I don't know what they're saying here. What does this mean to the town and to the MD? So my question is, do you guys understand?
Yeah, we have, I mean, in general, the sticking point, first and foremost, understanding that the town and the county are not in an adversarial position. So we're using one lawyer, and we signed an agreement to do so. That at least takes or reduces the risk in terms of implications. What's been hanging on with this agreement is a section where we needed to transfer the airport lease, the airport license. And it's taken us a while, and finally we got it. So that has been taken out as a condition. Anything else, and then the insurance, we checked with our insurance companies, and they're comfortable. And we did ask the MD whether they were comfortable with the insurance point. They said they are comfortable. So those were the key sticking points in the agreement. So that's the lease agreement. On the assumption and subordination agreement, more has to do with RJ Williscroft, Tom Kasanik, and SRD, and Roland Gauthier. It's just to become subtenants. So the monies from these folks, instead of coming to us, will go to the MD from now on. And so it is as it is.
Okay.
If there are any difficulties, the two agreeing parties consider hash it out. It's not adversarial.
Perfect. Any other questions, Councillor Knauss?
No, I just a comment again that right now I'm very comfortable with the agreement and the relationship we have with the MD, and 15 years from now, this is a 20-year lease, that I'm not so sure if it'll be the same way, right? That's why I want to make sure you guys are both comfortable. It covers our interests as a town.
The portion, though, let me caution, the portion that came to me when, and I did speak to Ryan Kemp, was the portion about a 20-year lease. And the agreement in the intermunicipal negotiating, the intermunicipal cost sharing agreement was that every 5 years we will talk about it. And he said, okay, if you'll be talking about it every 5 years, why don't you just make it a 5-year agreement? And yeah, why don't you just every 5 years pause? Because so it's not captured in here in this agreement that every 5 years we'll be talking about it. It's captured as a 20-year lease, and he couldn't find a way to put that element of 5 years to pause. So it was either going to be a 5 years lease or a 20 years lease. And I said, well, from the way council felt in terms of their relationship and the capital injection from the MD, I would be more comfortable to say 20 years so that nobody feels shortchanged in a short period of time. So that's one thing that we did talk about at length.
Thank you, Councillor, CEO Knauss.
No concerns.
Okay. Seeing no other concerns, I call for vote. Those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Thank you. Moving on to 5DI, 1, page 74. Can I have a motion, please? Mayor Cox?
I move that that I direct administration to make up a formal, personalized thank you appreciation letter for the volunteers of the fire department to be signed by council. That council consider a gift purchase of some nature to show appreciation to the volunteers, and that council present the fire department social club with $5,000 for the year. This money is to be spent on activities for the fire department members to aid with the retention of volunteers, whether it is for food or entertainment. Purchase of alcohol will not be considered an option for any funding donated.
So your motion encompasses all three aspects.
Yes.
Thank them, recognize them. Does anybody wish to speak against this motion or have a question? Those are law questions.
Yeah. Well, just a comment, not a question.
Next time. Sorry, you don't get to speak.
Yeah. Somebody else could go first. No, I was just thinking that we had talked a little bit when Ken gave his chat last time. If we put something in the paper, it recognizes the volunteers. And put their picture in there and a big thank you from the town. And if you see one of these faces on the street, make sure you thank them, because they're the ones that are working behind the scenes for our fire department. It would serve two purposes. Number one, it would recognize the people, and I think you know, they'd feel recognized by having it in the paper. And number two, I think it goes a long ways to helping promote the prestige in the public of the fire department, which may help with recruitment. So I would be more in favor of doing a thank you in the newspaper than, you know, a letter from council. You know, I think that would help in two ways. It would show appreciation plus help with the recruitment. These other things are happening more behind the scene that others wouldn't see. Keeps the ones we have, which is good.
Mayor Cox?
I actually think that the newspaper runs a fire supplement and puts pictures of all the firefighters in during fire prevention week, and I'm not really sure when that occurs. October. So they
It's a good time to thank them from the
they
town.
thank them then. I think maybe that would be a great time to actually take an ad and say thank you from the town during that process. The other thing, I don't have a problem consider a gift purchase of some nature, but I'm not really sure if we should be donating $5,000 to the Fire Department Social Club, because we have a social club here in administration. We don't donate, I believe, any money to the social club of administration social club. So I think we should be looking at something different than a social club. The optics of this aren't very good, I don't feel.
The idea I like when you read through his letters, I think the idea behind the 5,000 was when they come back from get a night call or something like that, 6, 7, 8, 10 of them, whatever, and nobody wants to go home after giving it all night and then make breakfast. Can't counter that unless you actually donate cash, right?
Well, I see, again, signing checks. I see meals come through here for staff that are obviously working. So we sign checks here for meals. Why would we not pay for meals for them, for the volunteer? Why would we go
Is
through
there
the
a
social?
policy that dictates how meals are purchased by the town
I
for
have no idea.
staff?
You would have to talk to.
Okay. Where I was, one of the recommendations I'd like to make before we pursue that any further is I'd actually like to make them breakfast on May 9th or something like that. It's a Saturday. Or whatever they would like, whether it's a barbecue before their meeting on a Monday night, which would be May 4th, I think. You know, a couple council members, it would only take 2 of us, I could do it myself if I have to. And just serve them.
Isn't that in here? That recommendation, barbecue?
No, that was for Public Works later.
That's
in the
later on.
agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because that's what we had sort of talked about the other night when we were discussing this originally, was to do something for them, like a breakfast or a barbecue. I think a personal thank you as well is good. I mean, I like the idea on the paper, Brian. I think that's a really good idea. But you're right, it is done, or you know, so we can add a thank you at the same time, like during that same period of time. But you know, a card, some sort of personalized letter that says thanks and we appreciate what you've done. Sometimes that personal opportunity, everybody gets an opportunity to sign. We can all sign, even just a little message in there that says we actually really do appreciate and recognize their service. We know we're dealing with a limited town budget, so it's not like we can increase their poor little wages, which we probably would like to. But yeah, I certainly support doing some sort of appreciation meal and something to recognize them.
Okay. Is anybody speaking against this motion? Mayor Cox?
I would also think that if we could put a line in their budget for meals, rather than donate $5,000 to the social club.
I agree with you. The optics of donating money to the social fund isn't very good. I'd rather
So I'm
have money
speaking
in the
against the
budget.
motion.
You could amend your motion and withdraw that portion or change it.
I thought it was 3 options.
That's what I thought.
I thought it was all 3, the way that it was written. I mean, I didn't see or.
It's a little bit confusing.
was it 3 options?
No, there are 3 decisions to be made, but you can choose 2, you can choose 1. You can ignore all of them. And come up with your own motion.
It was 3 ideas
Yes.
was the
It was 3
recommendation.
ideas,
Yeah.
no, I didn't realize
Yeah,
that,
okay.
I thought the action was, here it is, all 3.
No, yeah, no, can say for information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I
It's up to
misunderstood.
council to choose 1, 2, or 3.
Which
Or
door do you
can
wanna
add
go
it,
through?
you know.
I
Oh,
would-
I
I would like to amend mine then just for 1 and 2.
As far as a social club, I don't know if that's what you'd call it or not, that's just what I called it, but I mean, it was just
Well,
a
where do you
thing
get your money
where,
from?
we started doing that now, before practice. Once a month, we just have, like last month, the officers got together and we all chipped in and we bought food, and Lynn made a big shepherd's pie, and another firefighter's wife made a big cake, and we just had a meal before sending guys out for practice, and it went over really well. It was just a chance for everybody to get together and associate before they go out to practice.
Because
I don't
actually,
know what you call it, it's not really a social club. I guess.
No. but I wouldn't mind having a line item in your budget that allows you to go and buy breakfast
Well,
for them.
yeah, but then how do you choose whether it's breakfast or whether it's,
That's your decision,
Who can
because
go
you're
do
the
it?
chief,
That's your budget.
and it's your budget.
why you put more decisions on my back?
Do you want us to micromanage you?
I think he'll say no.
Okay, so I have 2 options there,
Yeah, you,
and that's the only 2 I want to make. And if anybody wants to make another one on a barbecue, but then,
well, we can just
Come.
all voluntarily do that.
hmm?
We can voluntarily do that as a
Yes.
citizen.
You can do that after my
I think
2.
council should do it.
CEO Tanaco, you had a comment?
Yeah, and what do you say consider a gift purchase? What are you thinking about? Going into be more specific.
You didn't write very much
Yeah,
there.
do you have any thoughts?
A gift card?
What was that?
Yeah, a gift card to a local business.
But this happens every year though.
Mhm.
So this isn't a policy though, right? You're
No.
just adopting it 1 time, not
Yeah.
every year.
But every year this will come, so
Right, it'll come back every year.
right every year.
What about a music gift card?
You
Then
gotta
it's
top
right.
it up. Yeah?
And we're not singling out one business purchasing from one place. We're giving people freedom.
Your little time retail leakage there.
Pardon?
Spirit dollars. Or whatever
We
they're
don't
called.
Yeah, they exist.
I don't know what the answer is, Mr. Tanaco. Does anybody have
Ken,
an idea?
are you, Mr. Chair, pardon me.
Yes.
Pardon me. What do you think about gift? You think about, were you thinking about?
I talked to the guy and they seem to think that they're not really, they don't want more money
Okay,
for the honorariums. They said they're not there for the money, they're there because they wanna help people. As far as gifts go, they said they're not really into gifts either, like, they definitely didn't want plaques on the wall and stuff like that, because I mean, where do you put all this stuff? And gifts, they weren't really fond of gifts either. So what they suggested was helping out with these dinners or breakfasts or whatever we have. That would be an asset.
Yeah,
Whether it be a line item in the budget or like,
so I'm gonna amend my motion. I'm only going with the first one. That's as
Yeah.
far as I can go right now. So number 1. And actually, you know what we could do is, for appreciation, is make a donation to an organization on behalf of the High Prairie Fire Department. And pick a good organization that deals with fire.
They're a good organization.
Yeah, if we're gonna donate, we donate to them. What I would say, if you're gonna put a second portion on here, is
I'm
I
not,
would say.
I'm only doing the 1. You
Okay.
guys can do the rest. I'll listen to your ideas.
Well, my idea, it's been stated already, I think that May 4th, during that week, before their practice on a Monday night, we all make them dinner.
that's not the motion,
That's a discussion right now. And then once she agrees, I'm gonna amend her
No,
motion.
I'm finished my motion, I wanna vote on, call the question. There, that'll finish me.
Yeah.
Okay, the question's been called. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. And those opposed? No one.
Okay, number one's done.
Well, that's it then.
It
Next
can that be
motion.
in a card and letter, not just like a letter?
Well,
For the
yes,
letter.
thank you, appreciation letter.
5EI, Public Works.
Don't you want your barbecue?
The motion's over. You have to go to the next motion on the agenda.
Well, you can make a supplementary motion on this.
Based on the same topic.
Yes.
Make a motion.
Where does it say you can't make another motion? We've done that many
Yeah,
times.
you can,
As long as you're
absolutely.
dealing with
Would you like to make a motion?
no, you're doing the barbecue.
I'll make a motion.
Would you like to make a motion?
That on the Monday that falls during the firefighter appreciation week, that we host a barbecue supper for the firefighters before their practice. At the town's cost.
They will provide the barbecue.
They have barbecue right now.
Can we charge you for the propane?
I thought we would bring Atco's barbecue.
What amount are we talking about here?
So,
Need a dollar
Third.
amount.
You know what amount?
How many firefighters are there roughly?
Right now, I think we've got 27. And we've got-
27?
Are we just doing the
34.
firefighters or not their families?
No, it's just their practice. Because they're gonna practice that night.
we can allow them to invite their family beforehand, their kids or whatever, to come for, like it'll be a burger sort of situation, right? I'm guessing.
Okay, so now you're looking at about 110 people.
Are you serious? You're gonna get 110 people?
Well, if you have a,
No, it won't be 110.
What do you think would be a good idea?
Well, if you're going to include families, then you're gonna have, some families have no kids, some families have 4 kids, so,
Why don't you rent the pool?
I think they-
I would suggest you do it just for the firefighters.
Okay. We'll do it just for the firefighters.
so a barbecue for roughly 35 people.
Okay. $500?
Should cover it easy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got clues.
Unless we're doing steaks. Nice, big.
Hamburger steak.
Okay, so you put the $500 in your motion, did you?
I put $500 in my motion, please.
The treasurer will ask you where is that coming from?
You know.
From
That's
heaven.
Start drawing from the
From the fire
skies.
department's budget?
From the fire
That's so
department.
Oh my God. He's gonna ask that, I know that. And I'm like,
I know he's gonna ask.
yeah, he's gonna ask.
Hey, you just cut us 167,000, then you went spend another
And when I
500.
go with those kinds of requests, I jump over the door.
You know, some things just gotta get done, so
Okay.
figure out how to
Okay.
deal with it. Sometimes you just gotta say yes.
Okay.
Okay, is there anybody speaking against this motion? Seeing none, I call the question. All those in favor?
May 4th then.
Yes. May 4th barbecue. What time is your training start?
7.
7, so we should be there by 5, start cooking, eat at 6, and you guys can train at 7. Okay?
Okay.
So if administration can let us, remind us about doing this.
About, oh yeah, value.
What time do you want to be there?
Well, if they're gonna eat at 6, we'd wanna be there by, just after 5.
Yeah.
You have the barbecue and all those things there, right? The equipment. Yeah.
Because we provide the barbecue for the barbecue.
I hope you guys know how to barbecue.
You do.
In
Yeah.
fact, we'll just stand and watch you guys do it.
You can be our social butterfly.
Mhm.
I haven't barbecued, I don't even know how. Never barbecued.
May the 4th.
Yeah, and it's in there. Okay, 5EI, Public Works report. Mr. Walker. Yes, Mayor Cox.
I move that council receive the March 2015 Public Works report from Ryan Martinson, I think, Superintendent Superintendent of Roads. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes, the
Manager
Department of
Roads.
Records for information.
For information. We put some names in.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah. Mayor Cox.
Mayor Cox.
It deals with the highway through town, Highway 2, and it deals with the sidewalk by the Anglican Church and the library there, and then down in front of Fields. Those sidewalks are all down to rock because the salt has worn away the finish on the cement. They are in horrible shape. You can't walk on them. And I don't very much if you could push a stroller on any of those sidewalks. What are we doing to work with Public Work, or for Alberta Transportation, to discuss refurbishing of those sidewalks?
I think the last time they did them was in probably 1993, I'm saying. They redid the sidewalks. For I know this portion here.
Yeah.
Cause I remember Don Mackay was the administrator at the time, and Joe Lansky was running a grader for Alberta Transportation, and he had carbide tips on his grader, and he come down and he got up on the sidewalk and he scratched all the new sidewalks. I remember that here is, it happened yesterday, so if we can get a hold of,
Well, I think we should do an assessment. Start at one end and do an assessment and figure out where we need replacement. Because, like I said, those sidewalks are in horrible shape.
Wouldn't it be easier to ask them to do the assessment?
Yes.
and-
No, we wanna do the assessment, because they will skim. We should do it and start the conversation. So, I don't know if you want a motion, or just keep that in for a Public Works discussion and
I can look
figure
into
out.
that, we don't need a motion, I can,
Okay.
and I'll report in our next meeting with.
Okay. So now, this may be a 2016 thing, and probably will be with Alberta Transportation,
Yeah, probably.
but I think we need to start in order to get.
Or something, maybe some of the money that the MD are throwing in now, maybe we can look at.
No, that's
That's all
strictly a
spent.
Highway 2 issue. Their salt is screwing up our sidewalks. And they are horrible. Anyways, that's my thoughts on that.
And that's with the Department of Transportation?
Yeah.
Okay. While you're speaking with them, I'm kind of curious, the lights that are in the town, they're all along 53rd Ave or the highway. Why does the town pay for them?
Do we?
I would believe that the town pays the street lights from near Cox's
All the way through.
all the way through till you get over by the Pomeroy, actually over by where the Tim Hortons was supposed to be, and then it switches back to the Department of Transportation.
This could be a billing issue from when we owned the lights.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm curious if it's a highway, what is the process? Wouldn't they have to pay for all lights on a highway? Or is it because it's within, but it's not even by town limits.
No.
The dividers are strange,
Oh, something to think about, yeah.
right? And if along that stretch there's 60 lights, that's a lot of money per month.
So we're just paying.
Do you know what other towns are when the highway goes through, like through Grimshaw or through?
In Valley View, the Highway 43 that goes off to Grand Prairie is all paid by transportation.
And that's within
I
town
believe-
limits.
I believe that is the way it is. That's the twin highway. I don't know, we could ask their administration to find out what it's like.
Yeah, no, it's,
That's
it would
enough.
save some money there.
There's value there. I would agree.
And there's also a highway running north and south. That's a lot more lights. 49th Street.
Say, Highway 749.
So, I mean, if we can drop that many lights from our budget every month.
I made a note of it too.
Okay. Just curious, I don't know how they pick and choose.
We
Right.
drop all that, maybe I can get supper.
There you go.
You can get a lot of suppers for that cost.
And I have one more question,
Okay.
Chair.
Mayor Cox?
When are we, at what point are we asking them to clean Highway two, street sweep Highway two and 749? Are we waiting, is there a certain date you're gonna say, okay, we wanna go ahead with the street sweeping?
No, I'll get a hold of, Corellium and go through that process, and they'll.
Cause it'll take a couple of weeks, I would
No,
imagine.
no, they give me the okay soon as Rodney Johnson approves it. It's like a verbal thing. Corellium, they gotta go through the right steps so that
Okay.
get it.
Is it too soon to sweep it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Cause I don't wanna, say, well, there's all ice along there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilor Panasic?
Where does our stormwater drain into? I know I was at the watershed council and there was people there saying, oh, High Prairie's stormwater all drains directly into the river and that's really bad so I'm just wondering where our stormwater goes. I don't think it goes into our septic or like our wastewater.
Some dumps into the, railway ditch.
Okay.
Okay, well, Railink, we pay them every year for dumping the water in there. A majority of it would go into the river and Deep Creek. I would say most of it goes into Deep Creek.
Is that the one?
That's the one that goes in behind your house
Yeah,
there.
cause I know our storm drain, I think, goes right
Yep.
up there, right
And
by
there's
my
one right
place.
along your house.
Yeah.
Your property.
And some goes directly into the river.
Yep.
So on 53rd Avenue, or I should say Railway Avenue, there's talk of storm drain stuff with this new contract. What's happening with that?
That was to adjust some of the tops of the storm drains.
Oh, okay.
Cause the road has settled and we don't really know what is underneath until we start to dig there, so.
Okay.
I know lots of that stuff still, even the railroad stuff still gets into Deep Creek through, it goes in behind, the cement plant.
Yeah.
Across Alan Smith, he's got a culvert
And
buried there, and it still ends up into a tributary to Deep Creek. And
I don't know if that's
This-
something.
just to let council know, our snow dumping site, which we pick up all the sand and salt and haul down there, that was all approved back in the mid-90s when we built that. And there is a settlement place in there, and that drains right into the river. But it's designed that everything's supposed to settle out in there, and then it's supposed to be just a runoff. But of course, in runoff, there's oils from,
Everything, yeah.
cars and salt from the winter. But it was designed and government environmentally approved, so.
That was quite a while ago though,
Yeah,
that's
that
20 years.
Yeah.
So, is it something that's on our radar to be looked at?
We haven't,
Probably a large cost though.
But,
It's a large cost to be polluting our valuable water supplies too, with the stuff that comes off the roads and.
the street sweeper, where are you dumping that now?
the back of the town shop,
And what happens to that?
we haul it out to our old landfill site out by Tulco. And we had a burrow pit out there that we dug when we reclaimed the landfill site. And we've just been pushing it in, like we hauled the old daycare out there, burnt it, and we pushed all the ashes and everything into the
Oh,
pit.
yeah, I know Watershed is concerned about that pipe. They've been concerned for a couple of years now.
Any more questions? Seeing none, I call vote to receive for information. All those in favor? 5E2.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
another appreciation.
Yeah.
Gosh, we're appreciation.
What's Looks like May 18th to me.
Is that council meeting day? They do it instead of the
Be
council
Mon-
meeting?
No, that's not council meeting. That's Monday.
Do lunch.
Night
They
before.
want lunch.
Or do lunch.
So council's the 26th.
12th and 26th. Mayor Cox, sorry.
The council directed administration to advertise Public Works Week in High Prairie, May the 17th to the 23rd, on the town's digital message board and website, and that a barbecue lunch be arranged during Public Works Week in support of the Public Works Department for the staff. For the staff. Is that Public Works staff? Or is it just staff?
The public works stuff.
Do I want to say Public Works staff? For their staff? Or just staff?
It's okay. I'll be there anyways.
Are you
You'll be on
Public Works?
holidays.
You're gone.
I'm gone. You
You're
just
gone. What the
reminded
hell are
me.
you talking about?
Someone's gonna
Nice
organize
try.
it.
You're not gonna get lunch.
I'll be there.
Oh, I forgot. You're right. I won't be here. Yeah.
See, you can't even tell if you're blushing.
It's in my eyes.
Oh, I never thought of that. All right.
Just let us know which day and then council will try and come flip burgers or cook whatever.
Any time during that week, permitting weather is good.
Just give me a shout, I'll come down.
It'd be better if council picked a date.
Yeah.
What date do we all like?
Matter.
It's gonna be a lunch, right?
Yeah.
Thursday.
Thursday,
Monday's a holiday.
21st.
Monday's a holiday?
Victoria Day.
Okay.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
No, the 18th is Victoria Day.
Isn't that the day we're talking about?
That's the Monday, but we're gonna do it on the Thursday.
Oh,
Wait,
I
sorry, I
see.
just said Monday's
Yeah.
a holiday
Yeah.
on that week.
The 21st, May
The
21st.
Okay.
Cook lunch.
Barbecue lunch.
Yeah, I won't be able to make it, but
Would the 20th work for you?
no, I've got, the 19th to the 22nd is all booked up with stuff, so.
Nothing. Okay, barbecue lunch. Where at?
Here,
Town.
did it say?
Well, normally they prefer to have it,
That's
Doing it at the Public
workshop.
Works.
yeah, public workshop, you know.
If you wanna have it down there, it don't matter.
But
Here
it's
it
your
says we have
preference.
the town office.
Let's have it at the public workshop.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
you always, it's respected.
Okay.
I'd rather
No,
have
that's
it
good.
there. I don't need
Yeah, the whole time.
35 town public works staff standing around eating.
Yeah.
It don't look good in
You
the
know.
perception of the
No.
public.
Yeah.
No.
Because apparently they don't eat, right?
No, it's not. Party
Yep.
time.
Anybody wish to speak against the motion?
Do you have a cost associated with that?
Up to,
How many people do you
you
have?
got?
Roughly?
About the same as the fire department?
Probably.
Don't forget you have summer students or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
$750.
That'll be a lot. That's
No,
Yeah,
big.
500.
500 again.
Up to 500.
Up to 500.
500 again.
Okay. Not steak. Too bad.
All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. And the motion's carried.
So we're talking noon?
Yep. Except for those that are self-employed, their lunch is at any time of the day.
You'd have to be there early to prepare it so that they could eat it anyway.
Yes.
Like that's, you'd probably have to get there for
About 11.
Set up, get things started. And
And can I have a motion?
where are we at? The CAO's, report now, is that where we're at?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion that council receive the CAO's written and verbal report and action list for information.
Thank you, sir.
So, Mr. Chair, let me quickly do a couple of things so that I can make this more efficient. There's a motion, and I'll come back to the report itself, to advertise the auditors, for the auditors, RFP, which we've done. We've got information. But, and we're supposed to bring it on the 14th. my advice is that because it just doesn't look proper to discuss the tender when they will be around the same month.
They're presenting.
Yeah, they're presenting to it. It doesn't feel right that, just to make you aware that the 14th may not be the best. Maybe we should go into May somehow and they get done and gone. So that
2
it's
weeks after,
so that
April
it's
28th.
20, well,
Why not just do it on the 28th, the next meeting?
April? Because it could be 28th, it could be 14th.
They're not sure when they're
They're
going
not
out?
sure. They're not sure. They're not sure. But May somewhere makes it very clean. They're done. They're gone. There's nothing behind the back of our minds. Objectivity becomes.
Well, sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say we could leave it on the 14th, and if we have it at near the end of the agenda, I'm sure they're not gonna sit here for 4 hours and listen to us.
But you're going to make a motion as to choice.
They'll be gone
If
by
they
then.
see it on the agenda, they're gonna stick around.
Well, they'll know what their quote is versus the others.
There's nothing wrong with May though for this particular one.
There's no
'cause we've
rush
got
to
lots.
really get it.
Okay.
Some diplomacy.
Mhm.
Right. So I don't know. I'm just advising because it's a motion, and I don't know how you want to treat it. I could just put a report advising that we'll bring it back in May sometime, just for you to know that I'm on it.
Just on here, discussion and a council
Yeah,
report.
you can just reference this meeting, the discussion at this meeting,
Exactly.
just for anybody who's
So-
reading it that hasn't.
So you know that,
Yeah.
yeah, so that there's no violation of your resolutions. Okay. The other one that, if you don't mind, the other one is the regional water, which I put on my report. That discussion came up yesterday, and I think there's a request from the MD that if we really want to pursue regional water, then they want some council decision to advise them that we are interested. Okay, so if it's something that you may want to do, I could be done after my report. That will be a direction from council on regional water. Okay. The sponsorship, I don't know how you want to deal with that. You remember the sponsorship? Remember?
Oh, right.
Yeah. I hate doing
That's
this.
on
because-
there? Is it?
No, they're not in my. They
Yeah.
came out yesterday,
Yeah.
right? And I hate doing it this way, but with issues that they're not too big, but yeah, it can be disposed of readily, right? In terms of your choice of what you want to do with the MD for golf. So you may want to give a direction as well. So I'm just going to note that one down as well.
I
Sponsorship.
thought that was in here somewhere. But you couldn't- Where did you say the town of
it was-
Swan Hills?
No, it was in my agenda packet for yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
when we talked about it.
yeah, yeah.
To the town of High Prairie. And there were 3 options that you guys are considering, so you'll be able to talk on that. That's on the auditors. Bill Costu, yes, spoke to MPE, and because we were having a debate about the price, about 1.3 million for the 50th Ave, it came up yesterday, and he was a little in doubt about what was happening. So we had a conference call with him this morning, Brian, Vern, and myself, and he said he's very satisfied. He's had a conversation with MPE, he's satisfied.
What about the council members? Because they didn't look too, they looked, in fact, Councillor Charwa looked very skeptical.
Yeah, so it's up to Bill to inform his council,
Okay.
right? Because our obligation is to our council to make sure, and then to have had a good
Do you know what
understanding.
we're talking about? Railway Avenue, the MD was under the impression that the cost to refurbish Railway Avenue would be around 700,000.
Right?
The tenders are coming in at 1.3.
Yeah.
And the question being asked by the county, the MD,
Yeah.
is, well, what did you guys go out and get? A Cadillac?
Right?
And we're saying, no, it just took this amount, this is the work that has to be done. Well, so they wanted a discussion as to, well, what did you guys go and tender for?
What did you tender? Yes.
And after the engineering discussion,
Yes. So, yeah, you were there, Brian, right?
Yes.
You were at a meeting yesterday?
Yep.
And Brian Mattis was at a meeting this morning, and he said he's more than satisfied. Yeah, he understands.
so how will this
And
break
what
up
was the
money-wise?
difference?
Okay. Also, money-wise, what will happen is the 500,000 from the Alberta Transportation,
Yeah,
plus our accumulated surplus, 873,000 will come from there. The other three projects, the $1 million is spread over the other three projects. And those are the things that add up all to 2.8 million for the grant side.
so we're not using any of the MD's money
Yes.
towards,
Not
Railway
towards
Act.
Railway Act.
No, we're not.
No.
We're using the 500,000.
we're using the
Yeah,
500.
100,000, yes.
And are they still discussing, or, because I'm not sure if there still are, the costs of their lobbying efforts is gonna be reduced, or,
No, they didn't talk. I think they realized that. I think they didn't talk about it. It's important.
I know.
We all help each
They're
other.
not really able to put it
Y-
first.
Yeah. Yeah. we all-
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
we didn't talk.
But don't forget, one of the issues maybe for some of the councillors from the MD was that they fired DCL, right? And then DCL actually owed them money after an audit was done. And DCL was bought by MPE, but it's the same staff.
oh,
So there may
Oh.
be other,
issues going on?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so as long as they're satisfied
Yeah.
with the way it shakes out.
Yeah, if they're not satisfied, we can always reach it, come back to council. But the total amount is there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's confirmation, okay. So that's about on that.
I had a question on that, Kelly. What was the difference for it to go up from the 600 and some to up to 13?
Remember the 600,000, we all agree that if we're not using the province's money, then obviously we could take the chance and get anybody come and do it. I mean, we don't have any responsibility to that. But as long as we're using the province's money, we'll have to tender it and have an engineering cost associated with it. So that was cost number one. Cost number two was the stormwater added to it. So that's how it went.
So engineering and a little stormwater was
Ate up that grant.
$600,000?
$600,000.
Oh, yeah. And the one that Bill gave us from that company, it was going to be done without engineering inspections and all of those things. It wasn't a tender, it was a quote. We are dealing with tenders now.
So Kelly, when we had the meeting yesterday, and there was lots of confusion about numbers, I do actually remember originally Vern bringing us a quote or a number prior to us talking to the MD about it, and we were looking at 1.2 million or something,
1.2.
right? And then all of a sudden in an intermunicipal meeting, we were looking at another quote that was 600,000 or 700,000.
For Bill.
And my understanding from that was that that quote came in, if we're gonna do this road ourselves and we're not going to deal with engineering, like
Engineers.
we don't have to deal with engineering, we can, does this make any sense?
That
to you
even
guys?
came
Yeah.
into one of the proposals.
Yeah.
But then when we discussed that yesterday at the meeting, the MD didn't necessarily remember it that way, so they were confused about, I mean, I know there's so many quotes and so many numbers, and they've got so much on their agenda as well, so I mean, is that what happened?
Bill,
So when you talked to Bill today, was
Yeah,
that sort of what?
yeah, Bill understood very clearly.
Soon as you use government funding, it has to be engineered.
Yeah, and that's sort of the way I
So are we
remembered
gonna get
that,
a
but-
better road?
We should get a better base road, so it will stand up to the heavier traffic.
And for,
That's what we're,
That's what we want.
yeah, there's 30 years, 40
that's what
years.
this design is from our engineers now.
Okay, because the other quote wasn't really getting into the base, it was just kind of a resurface.
Resurface,
That's what I
yes.
thought, yeah, that it was.
And their quote didn't think that their engineer that did that quote didn't feel that it needed any real base work was their bottom premise, right? Like that was what they were saying.
Yeah,
So a company out of Slave Lake, wasn't it?
no, I think it was MPE, wasn't it, or
No.
E-construction, yeah.
it was a construction company?
I think
Yeah.
E-construction, E-construction. Okay.
So, anyways,
Alright, and
okay, does anybody else have any more
And then
questions?
finally, normally I'll put my time schedule when I'm not around. April 10th and 17th, I forgot to do that, so just advising you, April 10th I'll be working away from home. 2, 9, and 16 I'll be attending my commission meetings. We have some heavy budget things to deliver
Okay,
for
well,
this.
so April 10th,
And 17th, yeah.
and those are, you're working from home,
Yes, I will.
And what are the other dates?
2, 9, and 16, those are my commission, leaving here a little early to attend my commission meetings.
Are the meetings on the 9th and the 16th, or are they on the 10th and the 17th?
They're on the 2nd and the 9th and the 16th. The additional 9th is because we are dealing with budget to be presented to the city of Edmonton.
So the meetings are actually on those dates?
Dates, yes. And so, but you remember the 10th works with the 9th, the 17th works with the 16th, right? But the 2nd, the Friday, is Easter holiday. Yeah.
So then on the 1st, you would be here in the morning, and then are you gonna work all day on the 1st and then drive up?
What's the first?
April 1st, Wednesday.
That'd be a Thursday, wouldn't it? If the
No,
second is
first
a
is a-
Friday. Oh, okay.
First is a Wednesday, second is a Thursday.
First is a what?
April 1st is a Wednesday. April 2nd is a Thursday.
I leave here on April the 2nd.
You leave here on the
Yes,
Thursday.
2nd. Yes, on Thursday.
So the meeting's
It's in the evening of the
on the
Of the
evening
second.
of the 2nd,
and the
okay?
evening of the 9th.
Okay. So you'll be here on the 6th and the 7th.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll leave on the 9th. And the 16th, is that evening also?
That is 2 o'clock.
2 p.m.
Yeah, that's a full commission meeting.
So you'll drive up that morning then?
Yes, 10 o'clock.
Okay. Mayor Cox?
So a question on the skateboard.
Mhm.
What's happening with the landscaping and turning over the skateboard park to the town, and what is happening with it? I mean, have you discussed anything with the Recreation Society, or?
May I turn to Brian just for a little recollection?
What happened with beautification and sod they were supposed to buy?
Beautification gave a check for $10,000 to the Recreation Society for them to buy sod. The check was cashed, as far as I know.
Complex Society?
Sports Complex Society.
Because the last that I heard is that we were supposed to be getting sod and Public Works was supposed to help when laying
Let me
the
look
sod.
into that, because maybe we
No.
need the bill, once they purchase it, and then we write the check. But there's $10,000 for sod set aside. Okay,
Because I met with Ricky Dumont and Don Charwa
uh-huh,
to discuss the landscaping and because they removed part of the fence to get in the cement truck, so he asked us if we had the availability in the posts and the fence to put it up, and we took it out of there, so we'll put it back up this spring.
so sod, if they haven't, they've ordered it, haven't they?
I don't know.
You don't know anything about it?
Wouldn't that be the responsibility of the Sports Complex Society?
I would think so.
Not
but-
our Public
but
Works?
Shouldn't we be following up on it, cause eventually, we need to know what's going on.
I know from an informal conversation with Angelo that they were planning on finishing up with some of that landscaping around there and the sodding. I don't know when or how, but
They're
it is
still-
on their radar.
Okay,
Yeah, they
that's all
were,
I need to know.
they were talking about it, but
Okay.
Councillor Tanaka?
Is the skateboard society still together?
there was never a skateboard
It-
society.
The
was
Sports Complex Society was taken over by, or being run by the next SATA group, which wanted a skateboard park.
Right.
Whether those people are still part of it or not, no idea.
Okay, because I'm just wondering, like, this is to kind of hijack your thing on the skate park. I'm just wondering if we can invite the skate park society to a town council meeting, and maybe they can help us figure out how we're gonna handle some of our issues that will be burgeoning now that summer's here, with bullying, garbage,
Mhm.
drugs, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, maybe they put the onus back on them. They wanted it so badly. What are you gonna do to help us alleviate some of the upcoming problems or some of the issues that we have?
Are they active, or is it just Angelo and?
It's just a couple of them they're working on it, so, yeah, I mean, we could invite them, I don't know what they would do, cause there's not a lot.
I think we should invite them.
I think it's a good idea because they were
Yep.
gung ho and all eager for it. Now that it's there, they've just basically said here, but I mean,
Well, they had some health, Angelo had some health issues, and that's why he's, they kind of took a break, and then winter came. And it's, but I think they have to finish it. They have to finish it off before we can accept it, or else they have to say, okay, we can't do it anymore, but we're leaving it as much as we can.
yeah.
And that's why I think that they have to come to talk to us. Okay, so 11 o'clock is your
Ready to,
turn into a pumpkin.
Is there any other questions for, well,
We
that's,
got
you've got it in
receiver
camera,
information.
you've got all kinds of stuff, yeah.
We don't have
Um,
anything on in camera on here.
Yeah, we did. Personnel.
you were here on time, you
Yeah,
would've.
you know.
So that was it. I think
Okay.
that we have a couple of motions that have to be made.
Couple of motions, and I have one item, but I don't know that I should bring it next time, for James Wickles, MPC,
Time sheet.
timesheet. And they've not been charged, they've not charged, anything that's over 1 month, it has to come to council.
Oh, I don't think that we're in.
Okay, so I'll
We'll,
do that.
yeah, we'll need more background information on that
Anything
later.
that's over what?
1 month, they don't wanna pay.
Oh my goodness.
Who doesn't
Okay,
wanna pay?
so,
Well, I don't know, is that what you're?
No, we can't pay, council has to
Yeah.
approve it.
do we have any other questions for the report from the CAO?
Why would we just approve that?
I don't know nothing about it.
We'll get it later. Okay, so
More
we have one
important
motion,
issues.
For
and we got about 3
information.
more to come out of this
Yes, yep.
report.
All those in favor? Carried.
Okay, Tolko motion.
Yeah.
This one came out of the intermunicipal, and
So
it
you
is,
just have to approve one of these, yes.
But not everybody has that, we can't just approve. it.
And-
We have no
We
information
have
on
you
it.
know, I
information.
think actually this can wait, it's not
Okay.
urgent
Definitely.
nature.
Great.
So
Okay.
put that into the next one,
It's
Okay.
golf tournament for the summer, right, so we can
Okay.
make a decision.
okay?
Regional water?
Councillor Panasic?
I'd like to make a motion that, council direct administration to draft a letter to the county of Big Lake supporting regional water.
Supporting our
The
interest in
concept.
Our
exploring.
interest in
Regional water.
regional water.
Was to send a letter to the MD indicating interest of the town of High Prairie in regional water.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
To the county.
Yeah, so we can send it by email,
It's a county, not MD.
MD, okay, today.
And this is arising because they
Okay.
sent us a letter, we never replied, and now they saying, are you guys gonna reply?
Is there anybody speaking against this?
Nope.
Excellent. Call for those. Vote. Favor? Carried.
What was the other one?
That's all. That's
Okay.
all. Sponsorship, yeah, that's all. I'll bring the sponsorship to the next meeting.
Moving to 7I. Anybody like to make a motion?
So the only motion that needed to come out of that report, just the one.
I'd like to make a motion that council approve the attendance of the mayor or deputy mayor at the FCSS Northwest Regional Spring Meeting on April 29th, 2015 at the town, at the Days Inn in High Prairie to make a brief welcoming speech on behalf of the town. Is anybody that wishes to speak against this? Seeing none, I call for a vote. Those in favor? Carried.
We'll figure that out, Donna.
7-2. Maybe like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that council receive for information the March 31st, 2015 Hyperine District Food Bank Annual General Meeting invitation. Councillor Panasic?
In favor. I'm already.
Is
ahead
anybody
of-
opposed? Or speak against it, sorry? If not, call for vote. Those in favor, raise your hands. Carried. 7-3. Mayor Cox?
The council approved the attendance of the mayor at St. Andrew's graduation class of 2015 graduation mass at St. Paul's Church at 2 p.m. and graduation ceremony at the Elks Rodeo Hall on August the 22nd, 2015. There is no time.
Does anybody want to speak against this motion? Seeing none, those in favor, raise your hand. Carried. Written and verbal reports. Mayor Cox.
You have my report there. I only want to add that I will not be here from March 25th to April 8th. I'll be away, so check signing will be done by the deputy mayor.
Okay.
I move my report for information.
Thank you, Mayor Cox. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I call for a vote. Those in favor? Carried. Councillor Danaka.
My report is in front of you. Mayor Cox, you had left the TOCO meeting, and Tom asked that the town send him a letter regarding the sesquicentennial.
Oh. What did he want it to say?
Give me money.
Yeah.
No, we're asking him.
I guess
for
so.
money.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Give him a letter saying.
Do you remember, Brian, did he say what the letter was to say, or just?
Basically, he just wanted, if
I
he
guess
wanted
it's sort of-
money from them, to send him a letter, much like what
What we
ATCO
were
had
gonna
said,
do
let
with
us
ATCO.
know that they're doing a centennial plan, and if they could donate any money to the cause,
Yeah.
we would greatly appreciate it.
Let's wait on that one until we get our committee together.
Please realize ATCO has mentioned again now in private that we're already planning next year's donations.
Oh, so
If
we
we
should
don't
get it
receive
sooner.
anything, then you're not gonna get anything. The sooner you give us a letter, the sooner we can start budgeting. We're budgeting a year in advance.
So you're doing 2016 now.
Yeah.
This is for 2017.
But you probably need the money in 2016 if you're buying and doing, and for some of it, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Is there anything else?
I move my report for information.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, then call a vote. Those in favor? Carried. Councillor Rose?
The only meetings that I have been to, I didn't have a chance to do a written report, and I was at 3 meetings yesterday, I didn't come until 9 o'clock last night, so I didn't have time to report, or do a written report, but the only one that nobody else was at, that you haven't heard from, was the youth forum, the youth engagement program last night. We were invited to join in discussion about belonging to a community. We got the opportunity to listen to what the students had to say about their interpretation of belonging to a community and their voice. And it was sort of interesting to hear some of their comments, and they were just read by the leaders of this John Humphrey Center Peace for Human Rights. And no students were there besides some of the ones that were involved in setting up their evening. One of the top of their list, one of the first concerns one of the students has, or a couple of the students had, was the Railway Avenue needing to be repaired. I was really surprised at that they actually had some street issues. Over and over again, the message from the youth at Pratt was that, and this was a combination of Pratt and a school in Side Lake, I'm not certain which one, was the nothing to do for youth unless you're involved in sports in our community. There was sort of a cry out for a drop-in center, something else where they can, like a hangout sort of place that we didn't have, and some place where they over and over again said they'd like somebody to talk to, counseling, somebody like workers that they could sort of have a safe sort of place to talk. I mean, it was also for the schools, right? What they're missing in schools. So some of those components were what they felt that was missing from the school environment. So the safe place could be at the school, or the hangout could be at the school, kind of thing. But yeah, there was they were all sort of independent, but a real theme that they really felt that the community wasn't, there was not an opportunity for them have very much besides sports to do in the community, so. These guys are gonna come back, work with the schools, and, actually, it was interesting, there was this group, there's a couple local people that used to be involved. One was Lisa Brody, and they're gonna actually ask Lisa to come back and speak. And there's a young guy that was a rapper. You guys know anybody who's a rapper that loves the community? And
I know lots of them, but they're not, maybe not good, not renowned.
anyway, this guy's
anyways.
supposed to be quite good. And so anyway, they were all inspired to do a couple workshops, invite some people back to the community. They felt, and there was some of the youth that were speaking that were saying that they just would like to listen to some people and maybe get inspired and have that opportunity. So anyway, it was good. One thing that came out of it that will probably be in the paper is that it was poorly attended. It was a community potluck to hear the voices of youth, and I was the only person there. So just so you see in the paper that sort of I don't know if that will be, I don't know if that if you'll focus on that, but that was a big concern of. They say though that that's typical of many areas, but that it was probably worse attended here than in other areas. But anyway, that's.
Does anybody have any other questions? Seeing none, I
Is
call
there,
Mayor Fox.
is there any recommendation that they, do we get a copy of the recommendations or their comments?
Yeah, and actually I've got made contact with most of them. We're going to email back and forth a little bit, and I talked with actually some of the youth, Annika Swarty and Jessie Johnson, who's Jessie's coming back to the community. She's working on her degree and she's involved with this group. She'd like to work with youth and get those recommendations and see if there's something. I told her if there's a way that council and potentially we could pass that on to MD Council can support them in some sort of programming, then by all means let us know what's sort of going on. And they were going to try to compile those recommendations that the students made and forward them on to us.
Alright.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none.
Thank you for going to that last night, Fargo.
All those in favor to receive Councillor Rose's report for information? Thank you. Councillor Panasic.
I didn't have my written report in time, but I did pass it out there, so you have it in front of you. Just a couple of things that the Watershed Council is looking for volunteers to be part of a steering committee. There's a Green Acres workshop planned for High Prairie on May 9th, and it's free to attend. It's all those that own acreages and want to be involved in that. And there's also an AGM happening in High Prairie on June 11th, and everyone that's welcome to attend and listen to the keynote speaker. And you can read the rest of it, but those are some that people might be interested in. I also, I'd like to make a motion that I get approval to attend one of the Heart River Housing Conferences. They got one going on April 28th to May 1st. It's going on in Winnipeg. They got another one that I can't attend, and just to make sure I got approval to go to that one, I guess I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, well, we'll deal with your report and then
Okay.
we'll go with
And
that.
the rest you can read up on and let me know if you have any questions.
Mayor Cox.
What is AED for lodges?
Automatic defibrillators.
Oh. They don't have any there?
Where's that at?
Heart River Housing.
Oh, okay.
None of their lodges have them in there.
They've really come down in price.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why they're considering them now, yep. It's really interesting that they're next week going in to do an interview for the CAO job, but as a organization versus with Slave Lake Regional Housing, where they would act as the CAO and get that money put into their budget and manage it for them as a CAO. Very interesting thing, but. Any other questions? No?
Report for information.
Can we look for information?
All those in favor? be it.
Like
When is the conference?
April 28th to May 1st.
Would you be comfortable in waiting until the 14th?
I can wait, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
As a preference, if
It
you
doesn't
can
matter
bring
to
more
me.
information to
But
what
why,
it's
he's
about.
on the
I'm not-
committee though, isn't he?
I'd like to see some information on, this is out of province travel. I'd
Um,
really like to see some information on it.
Yeah, that's on, unless it's a really time sensitive, I'd rather have more information and background.
the
Well,
conference is
I'm
on
just gonna say,
28th,
it doesn't cost the town anything,
It's
right?
paid for
So
by the,
it's paid for by Heart River Housing, so there's no
The
cost
travel,
to
the
the town.
hotels,
Okay,
but see, we
it's
don't
all
have this
covered.
information, right?
It's all covered.
I don't know what's
Right,
involved, what's
right,
covered,
yeah.
what's not. So, and that would be good. If you can wait till the 14th,
I can
great.
wait, Tom.
If not, just let us know. Okay?
like flights don't have to be booked or anything.
But flights are already booked, hotels are booked, everything's booked already.
See,
There's no cost to the town.
I have nothing to report at this time because I'm hoping to go in camera still. I moved my report for information.
You don't
All
have a
those in
report,
favor?
you can't move it.
It's verbal.
Yeah,
I just gave it to you.
No
There's
report.
no report.
no,
You
it's-
got it.
Just put no report.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Yay, carried. Make a motion to go on camera.
There's no report. That's why you're
11:46.
voting.
You still-